Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mr. Wiz here. If you are new to this channel, we build video games. In fact, right now we are wrapping up our first full Unity game where we wrote all the code by ourselves. We had a great time doing that. So right now, the way my game works is I have my plane that flies around. I have a score that updates as I fly. And once I collect all my coins, I will get a win screen. I'm not going to collect them all right now because I'm not that good at this game. Then after we got our win screen working, actually I'm doing pretty decent. After we got our win screen working, I did tell you that you could use the same steps to create a lose screen if you wanted to. And I did do that on my own. So right now if I crash, it says you lose and then it has play again. So if you're curious how I did that, it was pretty much the same way we did the win screen. What I did is in my player controls, I put my collision, so when I collide with the obstacles, once it boots up here, you'll see it. So when it collides with the obstacles right here, I added this part to set the lose text to active, and then set the text to say you lose. What I did do, I created, of course, the variable for the lose text up here. What I did decide to do is I decided not to create a brand new text box. So instead of creating a brand new text box, I just used the text box I already had. So when I look at my player stats, you'll see where I put lose text, I put my win text box there. So remember when my win text box just says you win. So I decided rather than make a brand new text box, I would take this you win text box and I would just change the words. So that's how I decided to do it. But, you know, that was optional. You didn't have to do that unless you wanted to, but I wanted to show you real quick how I decided to do it. So it sets the box to active, and then it just changes the text. So instead of saying you win, it says you lose. Okay? So what I want to do today's video, we're just going to kind of wrap up our game by adding some flourishes to it. Not much new material in this video. There'll be a little bit of new material that you haven't seen. But most of it's going to be stuff you already know from previous lessons if you've been working through the whole course. So I just wanted to give you some examples of some ways you can add some flourishes using skills you already know. So what I'm talking about is visual effects, sound effects, special effects, things of that nature, right? So we're just going to knock out some things here real quick. I'm going to move fast because this is stuff you guys should already know. So the first thing I'm noticing is my skybox. The light in my world does not match my skybox. If I fly around, the shadow is coming from up above, but as you can see, the sun is in front of me. So just like we did when we built our world, I am going to select the directional light. I'm going to use the F key to focus in on it. I'm going to use the Alt key, hold that down, and line it up so that the directional light is sitting with the sun, and I'm going to rotate it so that it actually lines up with the sun in the skybox, because if the sun's coming from over there, the shadows should also come from over there. So let me go ahead and line that up as best as I can. Right around there is pretty good. That lines up with the sun pretty well. Now I can, of course, change the brightness of my sun or the color of my sun if I want to. Let's just leave it the way it is and see how that looks in my game. So already, a lot more realism when it comes to the lighting. Oop, I am terrible at my game. Oh, I was pushing the wrong button. Silly me. Okay. So yeah, I've got my sunset over there. The shadows kind of reflect off the mountains a little bit more realistically for that sunset. I like it. All right. So what I was thinking about next is I've got these coins that I'm collecting. This is a great opportunity to use special effects or lighting and sound effects and all that stuff just on the coins. I could do a lot with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my prefab folder where I made my coin and I created them. So notice the fire there. We'll talk more about that later. So my coin, I'm going to double click on it. I did tell you guys when you made your collectible to save it as a prefab, so I hope you did that. Remember, the big benefit of having a prefab is that I can edit it later on, right? So anything I do to this coin prefab will happen to all the coins that are already in my world. I won't have to worry about changing them individually. Right now, my scene view is still set to 2D, so I'm going to switch that to 3D so I can see things a little bit better. Okay, I lost the coin. Where'd the coin go? Let's use the F button to find it. There it is. All right, so we're going to do a few things to this coin. I just want it to look nicer. I want it to stand out, be a little bit easier to see, all that jazz. So let's go ahead and make a material for it real quick. Do I have a material folder? I do not. Let me just go ahead and make one real fast. I always like to have my folders to keep things organized, easier to find later on when you're looking for them, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make a material real fast here like we've done before. I'm going to create a material for my coin. In fact, let me go ahead and name it coin material so I know what I'm using it for. There we go. We're going to set a nice color to it. And like I said, I am going to move fast because this stuff is not new. There we are. I'm going to make it metallic. Let's go ahead and put it on my coin. How does it look? It's okay. I feel like it could be better though. Maybe I can make it smoother. Ooh, now it really looks like gold. Very smooth, very shiny, very reflective. I like it. If I wanted to, I could also make it glow. Remember, we got the emission thing here. Maybe I want it to actually give off a little bit of shine. Ooh, look at that. Now it really pops. I don't want to go too bright with it, probably, or else I'm going to lose some of the reflection. So let me just give it a mild glow here. There we go. So now I have a glowing gold coin. Oh, that looks so nice. Look at that. All right. So we will go ahead and anything else I want to do to the coin. Let's add a special effect to the coin. So I'm going to right click on the coin, and as a child object, I'm going to add a particle effect. And once again, I'm going to go kind of fast with this. What I'm thinking here is I want to give it a little bit of cartoony sparkle. So I'm going to change the shape to probably a sphere. Yep, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to try to move fast with this because I don't want to waste your guys' time doing things you already know how to do. Let's change the lifetime, make it real short. Maybe half a second. That's pretty good. And I can change the color. Start color. We'll make this kind of gold too. There we go. I can change the speed, make it a lot slower. Ooh, look at that. That's looking pretty good. I might need to make the lifetime a little bit longer now that it's slower. That's not bad. I could change the size a little bit, make the radius a little bit bigger. I want to think about what it's going to look like from farther away as I'm flying up to it, right? Is it going to have that sparkle that I'm looking for? That's not bad. I might just leave it like that. Okay, so I've got a sparkly coin. Let's see what that looks like in the game. Let me move my head out of the way here. Actually, I think I forgot to update it. Remember, whenever you edit a prefab, you have to click out of it to save it. There we go. Save those changes. Now let's see them in game. There it is. Nice sparkly gold coin. Not bad. So those are some fun things I can do. It's real easy just by changing the material, giving it a special effect, but I could do a lot more than that. In fact, I could give it an animation, make the coin spin. That'd be kind of fun. Let's go back to the prefab. Go back to the coin. Oh, my computer's running a little slow. Sorry about that, guys. All right. We're going to add an animation to this. So, you know what? I'm going to change my layout. Go back to the animation layout I've used in the past. I like this layout for animations. So, with my coin selected, I don't see a button that's letting me add it. I need to double click on the coin. Let's double click on the coin, go to my animation. There we go, create. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for this create button. Okay. What do I want to call my animation? Let's just call it coin rotate. Because I'm going to create a rotation for my coin. All right. So now it appears over here, animator, controller, coin. And I'm going to create the animation. So I'm going to add a property. It's going to be a transformation property. It's going to be a rotation property. So my idea is to have the coin kind of rotate around, you know, like you would have. Do I have anything near me I can grab? I guess my cell phone. So I want it to rotate this way, is what I'm looking for, right? That's the kind of rotation that I'm going to try to do. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and decide how long I want the rotation to take. We could start, well, that's 1 second. Let's do it a little bit longer than that. 1 second's pretty fast. Let me drag it out here and set it to 3 seconds. That might work. And we're going to go ahead and click above that mark, that 3 second mark. You know what? Let's just delete this keyframe because we're going to be creating our own ending. So right now, the starting keyframe for the rotation is going to be, looks like -90.00 is the starting rotation because of the way I rotated the coin to face up. I'm going to click at the 3 second mark. I'm going to click the red button to create a new keyframe. My computer is being so slow today. There we go. And now I'm going to rotate it. Oh, I'm still in 2D mode. Let me get out of 2D mode. 2D mode, I don't need to be in that anymore. I'm going to rotate it this way, right? And we're going to go the whole way around. So if you look at the Y up here, it looks like it's getting pretty close to -360. So let's just make it -360. Or +360 would move the other direction, right? Let's test it out and see what it looks like. I'm going to get out of record mode and I'm going to hit the play button here. There it is. And my coin rotates. Oh, you see how it paused there for a second? It kind of stops. I don't really love that. So let's fix that real quick here. I didn't talk about this in the last rotation, but if you go down here at the bottom where it says dope sheet and curves, you can click on curves. And sometimes it has some weird curves in its rotation. So the blue line is the one that's changing. You can see how it's curved like that? That's what's creating that weird pause. I'm going to flatten that out. So I'm going to click on the dot, and this line here, I'm going to drag it at an angle. Try to do like a 45-degree angle if I can. Be pretty sharp. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And basically, I'm trying to flatten that curve. I want it to be as little of a curve as possible. I want it to be a flat, straight line. And that's going to make my transition smoother. There we go. Now it doesn't stop at all. Cool. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So I've got an animation for my coin. Let's test it out in game, make sure it still works. Oh, I forgot to save it again. Let me click that. There we go. And get out of 2D mode again. Keeps on trying to put me back in 2D mode because I used it for the canvas. All right. Whoop, is the coin rotating? I can't tell. Let's try this again. Is the coin rotating? Doesn't look like it is. My coin has the... No, it lost the animator. Where'd the animator go? Put the coin animator back on there. Don't know why that disappeared. All right, let's try this again. There we go, my coin's rotating now. Woohoo! Looks pretty fancy. All right, so that was a little bit more work than I thought it was going to be, but still within the realm of things you can do if you wanted to, right? Last thing I'm thinking I might want to do to my coin is have it play a sound when I collect it. This game is severely lacking sound. So there's lots of different things we can do for sound. Remember, you can always add music. Music is very simple to add. You just download the song, import it into your project, and then drag and drop it into your scene, and that can make some great background music, right? So adding background music is definitely something I would recommend doing. But what I'm talking about right now is having a sound so when I touch the coin, I hear a sound. Now, there's other ways you could do sound. You might want to just put sound on the coin, have it loop, and make it easier to find it. You could make it a 3D sound, where as you get closer to the coin, the sound gets louder. That's not a bad idea, especially maybe if you're playing a really dark game and it's hard to find the coin. You may have a sound that gets louder as you get closer to it, and that can make it easier to find it. That's not a bad idea. For my game, I want to have a sound that plays when I touch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the script that I made for the player controller, because the player controller has what should happen when I touch the collectible. So right now when I touch a collectible, it destroys the collectible, and I get a point. I want it to also play a sound. Now I have to create the sound first, or add it to the player first, since the player is the one that has the player controller script. So let's go to my fighter, and let's give him a sound. Before recording this, I did download some free sounds from this free sound pack in Unity. Oh, my computer's lagging again. Okay, so before recording this, I did download some free sounds from the asset store. And so I've got some here. Let's see if we can find one that would work good for collecting a coin. Ooh, I don't see any coin sounds. I really thought there'd be a coin sound here. What sounds do they have? I might just go with this flare gun sound for now. It's not great. I kind of wish I'd looked a little bit more, found a better sound. Let's just use the flare gun for now, because I didn't take time to go find a good coin sound. But there are lots of places you can find free sounds, lots of websites that have free sound effects that you can use. So I would definitely recommend doing that in your game. The flare gun, I think, is the one that I like to use. Yeah, I'll use that. All right, so what I'm going to do is on my ship, I'm going to add that sound, drag and drop it. It is an audio source. I can change the stats if I want to. Here's the important part, though. I don't want the sound to loop, and I don't want the sound to play on awake, because I only want the sound to play when I collect something. So this is a sound that's going to play when I collect a coin, when I collect one of my collectibles. All right. So to make it work, I now have to go to my player controller script. So I've added the audio source. I've turned off play on awake. I'm going to go to my controller script, and I have to add some things to make this work. So I got to add the new variable. I'm going to make this one private because you don't need to change it from Unity. It is an audio source, so I have to write that. And then I just have to give my variable a name. I'm just going to call it sound. All right, so then on game start, it does need to find the sound. So I'm going to create a new line here. Sound is going to equal get component, just like I've done before. Use my arrows and then tell it what component to look for. It's going to look for the component that's called audio source. And then put my semicolon at the end. I think that's correct. We'll find out if I have any error messages. I don't remember if I'm supposed to put this thing there or not. I might need to put that there. You know what? Let's just put that there. Just be. I think since it's on this one, it makes me think that I probably need to put it on this one. But we'll find out if it doesn't work. Okay. So that should save the sound. And then down here, we want it to play the sound. So we're going to do sound.play. And then semicolon. Let's save that and see if it works. I'm going off of memory here. I should be checking my notes. All right, let's get into this now. So I just saved it. I don't do enough stuff with sounds. All right, no error messages yet. I'm going to fly into the coin. Oh, my computer's lagging again. Let's try that again. I missed the coin completely. My computer's in a bad mood today. All right, there's my sound effect. That's what I was looking for. So it did play the sound when I touched the coin. So I've done lots of things in my coin now. I've given it new material. I've given it a special effect. I've done just about everything you would want to do. I guess I could put light on it if I wanted to. Maybe if I was making a dark game, I would add light to it. We could do that, I guess. Just to kind of show you all the fun tricks. All right, so in my prefab folder where I have my coin. Yeah, let's double click on the coin. I could add a light effect to it. Now, my game's not that dark, so it's not super important. But one of the fun things about the light effect is this little draw halo. I could put that on it, and it would actually cause my my coin to have like a little halo aura around it. Lighting has been disabled in at least one scene view. It's saying I have my lights turned off? There we go. I have my lights turned off. All right, so this is the aura that we're talking about here. Okay, so that can be kind of a fun little thing. Let's see what that looks like in game. Let's save it. So aura is kind of cool because it kind of adds like a fake glow. It's not real light. It's just a little haze effect. See, there we go. You see it? Oh, this lag is terrible. Why is my computer being so laggy right now? I think it might be overheating. Let's try this again. There we go. You guys see that halo, that aura? That looks pretty cool. I might keep that. I like that. All right. So we've done a lot of things to the coin using a lot of different tricks that we've learned. Before I let you go, I want to show you something new, okay? So, before I started recording this video, I made a prefab for fire. And let me go ahead and show that to you right now. So I made this fire effect. And the idea was that I would throw this fire on my plane when I crash. Just to kind of give it a little extra emphasis that I crashed, right? So you guys should know how to make fire. We've done that before. So I've made the fire here. I also added to the fire a sound effect that kind of sounds like fire, and I gave it play on awake and looping. I also added a light effect so the fire would glow. So I did all this before recording this video. So what I want to do is I want this fire effect to get put on the plane when the plane crashes. So I'm going to go back to my scripts, go back to the player control, and we're going to go to the area where I crash. So right here we have when I crash into an obstacle, the different things that happen. So this was all stuff I did in recent videos where my plane crashes, it stops moving, I get the you lose screen, the restart button pops up. What I want to do now is on top of this, I want it to create the fire. We create things with a code called instantiate. Instantiate basically means to create from nothing. So we're going to instantiate. Then we use our parentheses, and we have to give it 3 pieces of information. We need to tell it, what is it creating, where is it creating it, and how is it going to set the rotation for that object. So I want it to create the fire that I made, which means I do need another variable. So many variables in this code. We're going to do public variable this time. It is a game object, so that's the type of variable. And then I just have to give it a name. I'm going to name mine fire. All right, so I'm creating a public variable that is a game object variable called fire. Because it's public, I have to assign it after we've saved this, okay? All right, then down here, when it's instantiating, it is going to instantiate the fire. Now I have to tell it where it's going to set it to. I'm going to put transform.position. And what this does is this sets it to the original object's position. So since this is on my plane, the fire will spawn at the same position that the plane is at. Basically, my idea is it should make the plane look like it caught on fire. Okay? So the fire is going to spawn at the same position the plane is currently at. Then for rotation, if I do transform.rotation here, it's going to use the rotation of the plane, which is not correct. But I just want to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to save this. We're going to go back to the code. It is updating. I'm going to select the plane. So here's my new game object where it's looking for the fire. I'm going to go to the prefab that I made. So if you're going to do this with me, you do need to create a fire and you do need to save that fire as a prefab, okay? So I'm going to drag that prefab into that object right there. So when I crash, it should create that fire. Let me show you the problem with the rotation I was talking about. When I crash my plane, if it will let me, because this lag is terrible. There we go. That does not look like the fire that I made. It was going the wrong direction. It was going forward instead of going up. So what I need to do is I need to, instead of using the plane's rotation, I need to use the fire's rotation. So I'm going to put fire.transform.rotation. So now it's using the rotation of the original fire object. Control S to save. Control S to save. There we go. All right. My computer's usually not this bad. Today it's having a bad day. All right, let's try this again. So now when it creates the fire, it should be using the fire's original rotation. There we go. And the good thing about that is I can crash from pretty much any angle and the fire will still be pointing up. So even if oh my gosh, these controls are terrible. Even if I crash at a weird angle, this game played so well before I started recording. If I crash straight down, for instance, the fire is still going up, right? Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you in this video, was some ways you can improve your game using skills you've already learned with lighting effects, special effects, sound effects, all that jazz. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go. If you learned something new today, please click that like button. I am so sorry for the bugs and the glitches in today's video. Hopefully this won't happen anymore going forward. I think it's happening because I told it to record audio from the computer, and I don't normally do that. And that seems to be overloading my system a little bit. So I apologize for those bugs. But I do hope that if you learned something new today, you click that like button. And if you are not already subscribed, you do subscribe and give me a second chance. I'll see you guys later.